All right, everyone, this is part 6 of this series. And in this part, we're gonna talk about luxury and high rise. Everybody wants to know how to sell luxury and high rise. That's where the big money is. You watch all these shows like $1 Million Listing and Selling Sunset and Selling Beverly Hills and Selling Miami and blah, blah, blah. And it looks so fabulous and luxurious and everybody's driving Rolls Royces and everybody's, in these great parties and blah, blah, blah. Guess what? That's not you. Most of the time, that's not you. That's the 1% of 1%. Somehow they were able to get on these shows to get them to that level, and they hustled. Obviously, nothing happens at the drop of a hat. You got to start somewhere, but everybody wants to do luxury and high rise. That's where the money's at. So let me kind of break that down for you. With such a competitive industry and everybody seeing big dollars, everybody just naturally gravitates to luxury, right? And they kind of watch shows and they try and emulate what everybody else is doing. They see these agents throw these big parties and blah, 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 blah. Remember, these big parties cost $10,000, $15,000 just to have these parties, right? So when you're dealing with luxury, you're dealing with a different type of clientele, right? You can't BS your way with this type of clientele that obviously got there because they're successful. They have a $5 million house or a $50 million house. You can't just walk in there and go, here's my listing presentation. Pretty much whenever you get to this level, when you deal with this type of agent that only deals with luxury, it's a level playing field. Everybody's using the same photographer. Everybody's using the same video guy. Everybody's going to the same get-togethers, right? So you really have to make yourself stand out, and you really have to give your client attention, and they have to see that you're gonna break your face and run through a wall and do anything to get this property sold, and you have experience in selling luxury. However, how do you get into the luxury high-rise game without actually selling luxury and high-rise, right? It's not really fair. It's kind of like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? So if you go, and you go on all these listing appointments and you say, hey, I want to sell your $5 million, home or high-rise, they're going to say, okay, well, what experience do you have in selling, luxury property? And you're going to go, well, I really don't. So think about that for a moment, right? You can still put a good presentation in front of your client, and you might strike out 9 out of 10 times, 19 out of 20 times, 29 out of 30. I don't know why I keep going in increments of 10. But the point is you're gonna run across somebody that sees your hunger and that you really want this, and that you do have a good plan, and that you have studied, and that you do have good marketing strategies, and they're gonna give you that opportunity. All you need is one. All you need is one high rise and one luxury, and you can put that under your belt and say, hey, I sold this property. I sold in this amount of time. You're gonna gain that experience, right? And even if you don't have that experience, at least you're gonna learn from it. But one thing that you can't do is you can't just sit back and stop and not do anything. You need to constantly be on the phones and whatnot. So anyways, I'm gonna get into that right now on how to sell luxury and high rise. So you're dealing with a clientele that owns these properties, that got there because they are successful, they're smart, they're educated, whether it's school or street smart, whatever that looks like. But you cannot go in there and BS them. You have to go in there with a strong marketing plan. But remember, these other 5 agents that they just interviewed, they're coming in there with a strong marketing plan too. So what puts you aside? What puts you above everyone else? And I truly believe this, it's personal attention. Most of these luxury agents now have a team. The seller is only dealing with the agent on the first consultation, the first meet, and after that, they don't deal with them anymore, and good for them. If they have that much business where they have somebody that, you're gonna deal with Patty on this, you're gonna deal with Jane on that, you're gonna deal with Jim on this, good for them. And if the seller's okay with that, great. But one thing that you can offer is personal attention, and keep your clients updated on a week-to-week basis on what you're doing, right? So some things you want to think about is, with luxury, it's all about your sphere of influence, right? Do you deal with clientele outside of your client that has money, that has 7-figure income, you have to think about that, right? You can pitch that. Maybe it's just a family member that is well off, and maybe you go to a birthday with them and you get to know their friends. At least it's a start, right? And you can go to that listing and say, hey, I do have a sphere of influence and everybody's over 7 figures or 8 figures, right? That's a really, really, really good start. Do you hang out with people that are well off, right? Do you go to functions where people are well off, where people that have money? You got to get to know people, and you're not going to get to know people just by sitting at home and doing the same things that you always do, which is just go to the gym, go to work, hang out with your family. You're really going to have to put in the work so that people get to know you as a person, right? So that would be some of the things that I do in order to get luxury listings, right? One is perseverance. Don't take no for an answer. Let them know that they're gonna get personal attention. Let them know that your sphere of influence is very broad and you have a long reach, right? What that means is that you're not just marketing to the city that you're in, but you're marketing to cities around you as well, right? And another thing is social media, right? Everybody's on social media. You constantly have to be putting properties out. If you have that one property or you have 3 properties, you have to be putting out content every week or twice a week about that property and feature something about that property every single week. It's really gonna, it's really gonna help you. So let's get into the marketing things, right? So it's basically gonna be residential, but you have to go above and beyond, right? So people, they usually have money, they're well off. Usually they already have a maid that comes in once a week. Usually they already have a landscaper that comes in once a week. Usually they have a pool guide. So you really don't have to worry about those types of expenses, right? But some of the expenses that you do have to start off with is a photographer. And you and your photographer are gonna be there for the daytime shoot, at least 1 to 2 hours, depending on the property, the different features of the property. And then you're gonna have to come back for a twilight shoot, right? So you're gonna have to come back during twilight. You're gonna shoot the outside, the backyard, maybe some of the inside, depending if it has like a city view. So be prepared for that. You're gonna have to do a drone. You're absolutely gonna have to do a drone. Again, like I spoke about in some of the earlier chapters of this series, right? You have to do a drone. You're gonna have to do an aerial overlay showing where the primary bedroom is, where the primary bathroom is, maybe where the chef's kitchen is, maybe where the indoor sauna is or whatever, right? Maybe there's an indoor pool. Here in Las Vegas, there's Steve Aoki's house and a bunch of others, and they got crazy stuff in their house, right? So you want to do an aerial overlay to kind of show where the basketball court is and things like that. Really, really important, right? So think about those things. If there's an elevator, you definitely want to do a 3D tour. You definitely want to do a floor plan. All these things are extremely important. And again, social media is everything, right? So instead of just posting photos, you need to get a really, really creative and good videographer. You need to have him come in not only for a daytime video shoot, but a nighttime shoot, and you need to just show the features of the house. Again, you don't just want to show the dining room table, and this is just another room, and this is just another room, and this is just another room, and this is just another room. You only want to show the highlights of this sick house that you're listing, because everybody has access to the internet, right? Everybody's on their phone all day long. Everybody's on Zillow or Realtor.com or whatever the case may be. Everybody's on YouTube. They have access to it, right? So not only do you want to get a good video, but you also want to do shorts and reels. So you're constantly putting out content for this luxury property, right? So think about these things whenever you're going to list luxury, and you're gonna have to put in a lot more work. You're gonna have to be a lot more attentive. You're gonna have to give a lot more white glove service, which is just being more attentive to your client, because you're not making $5,000, $6,000, $10,000, $20,000 anymore. If you're listing a $10 million property at 3%, you're making $150,000 in commission, or even 2%, you're making $100,000 in commission. That is so much money. That is more than a lot of people make in a year. You better put in the time, the work, and the effort to do everything you can to sell this person's property as quick as you can and do the best job you can, because if you crush it, I guarantee you, people talk, and they're either gonna be a good walking commercial or a bad walking commercial, and a good walking commercial is only gonna get you more business. So think about this as you're trying to sell luxury or high rise. Pretty much the same thing. High rise is just high rise. It's still luxury. Same mindset. So another thing you want to do is you want to do a broker's open house, right? You want to do a broker's open house for luxury brokers and agents that have high-end clientele. You want to throw them a big party. You want to get them excited. You want to show them every feature and how amazing it is. You want to give them food and drinks, anything you can do to get them excited. Unfortunately, all the high-end clients don't go through you. They go through a lot of different brokers and agents. So it's really good to have relationships with luxury brokers and agents that have that clientele. You have a good relationship with them. You could tell them that there's an off-market listing coming up. They can, pitch it to their client and whatnot. So think about those things as well. It's really important to have a broker's open house, but only for that specific type of clientele, right? Obviously, most agents don't deal in the millions. So it's really important you get a good database together, pitch them, get them in there, get them excited, let them pitch it to their clientele of that caliber, of that price range, and help you do the work to bring more boots through the door. So this is one more thing to help in getting the luxury and high-rise properties sold. For more information like this, make sure you subscribe, like, and comment, and we'll see you on the next one.